This report brought to you by the Richmond Club, where investors and high-growth companies meet.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Our first speaker is the President and CEO of Eastmain Resources. Please welcome Mr. Claude Lemasson.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you for having me today. It's a pleasure to be here to present to the Richmond Club. We're going to be talking about high-grade gold in James Bay, Quebec today. Before I do that, I do want to give you a little bit of background on myself. I've been with the company for about 2.5 years as the President and CEO. And prior to that, I was about 6 months as an independent director with the company. I've known Eastmain for over 10 years as a junior exploration company in James Bay. Some of my background, I came up in mining, about 30 years of mining experience in the industry, mainly through industrial construction, so building mines is really my expertise. And I was involved back in the late 90s with the Twin Creeks mine in Nevada, which is one of Newmont's main assets. So I was a construction manager on that project. Late 90s, I was actually involved with the Red Lake mine. I was the project manager that built the Red Lake mine for Goldcorp and Rob McEwen, and then I became the mine general manager at Red Lake for 6 years. So I ended up spending over 8 years from 1999 to 2006 in Red Lake. It was a great success, as most people know. Then I came to Toronto, spent 3 years as general manager of projects for Goldcorp. My main project was the Éléonore mine in James Bay, Quebec, which was newly acquired at the time. Moved that forward. I was also president of Ghana Goldfield 2009 to 2012. So I've been involved with other companies as a director as well. I'm currently a director of Premier Gold. So back to Eastmain Resources. Eastmain Resources, we're talking about some projects in James Bay, Quebec, and our main goal is to advance them through advanced exploration and development ultimately. So I will be making some forward-looking statements today. So when we think of Eastmain Resources, great management team. I put the management team myself 2.5 years ago when we went through a radical change with the company, new management and new board. So it's really a new company for the last 2.5 years. We're actually the most aggressive junior in James Bay, Quebec. So I'm going to talk about some key projects, but first thing I want to do about the company is show that we're undervalued compared to peers. You can see here on the chart, this is a price over net asset value, P over NAV, as a metric, and we're clearly undervalued in the current market with lots of opportunity on the upside. And this is just based on our main project, not on our other projects, which include discoveries. So what does it look like? This is the central James Bay area in Quebec, where you see the Eau Claire project is our main asset, but where you see the numbers 1, 2, 3 are our key projects. So 1 is Clearwater Property with Eau Claire. 2 to the north is the Éléonore South joint venture, which is near the Éléonore mine, about 15 kilometers away from the Éléonore mine. And it's a joint venture with Goldcorp and a small company called Azimut. And then Eastmain Mine is our third asset just south of Stornoway's diamond mine. So we're really concentrated in James Bay, as you can see. Our capital structure, this is about a month old, this slide, as far as the cash balance. We're around $6 million right now, so we're being very conservative with our cash spending, considering the gold market currently. You can see we're on the main board on the TSX under ER, and we are also in the US under the OTC QX. So we are covered by 6 main analysts, independent analysts, as you can see there, Cormark, as an example, Industrial Alliance, Laurentian, various others. So as far as cash in the bank, we're really good until about $6 million, good until well into next year before we have to raise more money. So major shareholders, 65% of our shareholding is retail, and then from there we've got institutional shareholders and insiders. You can see the insiders. We've been buying the company for the last 2.5 years. Myself, I own 1% of the company and continue to increase that position on a regular basis. You can see in the institutional shareholders, well-known names. The Eldorado position is a passive position. That's Eldorado Gold, a mining company. That's from the Integra. So Integra used to be a strategic investor in us, and they got bought out by Eldorado, so that became a position in Eldorado. All the other ones are well-known names from New York, many of them, Texas, Toronto, obviously, and into Europe. So the three key projects, this is a good summary slide. I won't go through it in detail, but it shows really in green where the resources are. So we have 2 main resources on 2 projects, and as well a discovery on the third one, the Éléonore South JV. I'm going to update you on these projects as we move forward. So what's the value proposition? So we've got, first of all, high-grade gold asset. That's pretty key in this market moving forward. A lot of people say grade is king, and that's true in our business, certainly. We're also in a stable, safe jurisdiction with good infrastructure in Quebec, not only in Quebec, but in James Bay. I apologize for the flipping of the slides there, but and then we have a maiden preliminary economic assessment on our main project. So we now have an economic study on Eau Claire, as well as a new resource on Eastmain Mine and a major discovery at the Éléonore South joint venture. So what does that mean moving forward? We're doing post-PEA pre-development work. That means we're taking the Eau Claire project and moving it forward on a steady basis towards a development decision. As well, we have a 3-in-3 exploration vision. We want to get to 3 million ounces in the next 3 years, and that's pretty key. So Eau Claire, I'm going to skip over some slides there because there's a lot of technical information, but in general, so James Bay, obviously in Quebec, great place to be, very supportive government. The government actually ultimately invests in mining projects and take you through the investment cycle through development and production. So very supportive government. Also the permitting process clearly defined, and the Aboriginal people of James Bay are the Cree. The Cree are very pro-business, pro-development. They have signed over 6 IBAs in the last 8 years in James Bay. Location-wise, good. The message here is good infrastructure. We have road access into our projects. We've got power nearby. On our main projects, we are 18 kilometers away from power. And as well, we have airstrips, so we can fly into the area and then just drive into our sites. This is the main property, the Clearwater property, and then within that, where the red circle is the Eau Claire project itself. You can see road access. You can see the orange circle, orange circle all the way on the left side. That's actually the Eastmain 1 or EM1 dam. So this is a massive dam that is actually producing power, and we have power access to that dam, therefore for the future close to cheap Quebec power. So this is a little bit of the background why there was a change 2.5 years ago and why I got involved. What's in gray is really the previous management and what they were doing. And you can see there was a stall around 2013, 14, 15. And because of that, we decided to revive the company, make some significant changes, drill extensively. The green bars show drilling that we did on the main asset to then get to the preliminary economic assessments, which we did deliver as promised on May 2018, so just a few months ago. So that was a very key step for us. Now we're moving beyond that. So the Economics of the project, very high level. The green box is what I'm particularly looking at. The net present value, these are all after-tax number, 260 million Canadian. The IRR after tax, 27%. The payback, just over 3 years. Pre-production capex, 175 million. That means pretty manageable. And the all-in sustaining cost, $574 US an ounce. That's less than half of current gold prices. So these are very solid, robust numbers based on a very realistic development plan for this asset. This is compared to other peers. I won't go through it in too much detail. By the way, this presentation is available on our website. Will be also available, I think, through your website. But essentially, what you see there on the far right is our numbers. And when you compare that to other key projects that are up and coming, gold projects up and coming in Canada, we stack up very well. We're a very strong project. We're often listed in the top 3 best prospects in North America as a future gold mine. These, I won't go through that, the information's there. This is production profiles, throughput and grade, initial capital, how we spend our capital eventually down the road. Site layout, you can see very straightforward site, nothing unusual. You've got the mill in purple, stockpile right beside that in yellow, a ramp portal to go underground. I'll show you that in a little bit, mine camp, and obviously waste rock and tailings sites. So open pit mining, essentially this mine, we start with an open pit for about 3 years. What's unique about the open pit, it's very, very high grade. We call it extreme grade, 3.8 grams per ton in the pit. Most pits that you hear of today in Canada are 1 gram or sub 1 gram. So we're at 3.8 grams. I mean high grade pit on the front end for 3 years. Then we go underground during that time and we continue the mine life. Total mine life, 12 years. So we continue underground for many years, and that's what this shows. You can see the pits in the picture at the top in gray, and then we go ramp underground with the blue, and basically the mineralization is shown in red, and that's what we go and mine with a ramp. Our deepest point is 860 meters, and it's not that the deposit stops at 860 meters, simply we don't have drill holes below that. It is fully open down at depth and to the east. So more exploration over time. But already what you see in the picture, our resources 1.35 million ounces in total, and mineable out of that is about 1 million ounces mineable. So we've got 1 million ounces right now in the plan. This just shows, as you go in depth, what's well drilled the top 600 meters. We did extensive drilling right from surface all the way down to 600, very extensive drilling, very well defined. You can see it. The bars show how many contained ounces in orange and tons in blue. But if you look at the contained ounces, then it drops. It only drops because we don't have enough drill holes. We don't have the right spacing. We obviously need to drill where the red oval is and eventually grow that resource within the current plan. So that's a great opportunity. Where else are we looking at opportunities? Well, Plan Nord, Quebec, as the Quebec government has a James Bay specific plan to develop infrastructure in the north, and that's Plan Nord, and that we will work on that with the government. Other than that, we're doing advanced exploration. We are looking at an exploration ramp, which would be the start of the actual ultimate production ramp. And that exploration ramp is being studied right now. We're looking at ore sorting applications, so a little bit of technology in there. And then we have a 3-in-3 exploration vision, which I'll show you on the next slides where we're looking. But basically, we're trying to grow the resources that we have. And where are we going to grow the resources? This is the deposit, the same deposit I was showing you before. The expansion potential, which I talked about, is obviously from, say, 500-600 meters deep down to below that, down to 900 meters and beyond. So this is good potential for growth of the deposit, but also regionally or locally, let's call it. This is the property, the Clearwater property that I showed earlier, and the black circle is the Eau Claire deposit. That's where we're located. But The red circles are good targets nearby. This is within a few kilometers. And the red is what we've been working on since July in the field, doing trenching, stripping, and drilling. So we're working on these targets, looking to find more mineralization nearby to eventually add to the plan. And we've had, I would say we've had some inkling of successes because it's early days. We don't have all the results. We haven't even issued any results. And by the way, on all these exploration programs, all results are coming out starting in November, December, January. You'll see more results come out through press releases. But that's one of the areas we're focusing on. And then I'll talk about our second main project, which would be the other area. So how does that look as far as timeline on this project? This is where we're at roughly, the gold bar going straight down. So we are working on community engagement, environmental work, engineering studies. All of these things are moving forward while we're continuing exploration. And you can see timeline to development decision, probably sometime in 2021. That's a normal process. It's part of the permitting. It's part of the feasibility study work and those kind of things. That's our plan. That's our main asset. Let me talk quickly about the Éléonore South joint venture. Éléonore South is near the Éléonore mine. So you see the Éléonore mine in the top left corner, currently producing. They're aiming for 350,000 ounces to 400,000 ounces a year, currently owned by Goldcorp, fairly one of their main assets. And what you see in where it says discovery, that whole box there, that's our joint venture ground with Goldcorp and Azimut, as I mentioned. And you see the percentage in the green box on the bottom. Eastmain has 36.7% of the joint venture, and we are the operators. So where we focused in the last 2.5 years is where the red circle is. And the red circle is an interesting target. All indications said we should look there. We went, we did stripping, we did trenching, and we did drilling, and we hit gold all over the place. We identified a massive gold system, so this is where the oval is. And in this massive gold system, we hit gold through various intercepts of high grade, medium grade, low grade, and we're continuing to work on that currently. So there's currently a drilling campaign going on with results to come out, as I mentioned, November to January or so. This has been every few months we do a campaign on this. It's been very promising. We actually announced officially a discovery last October. So a year ago, we announced a discovery at this location. Again, reminder, 15 kilometers from the Éléonore mine and mill, and the mill at Éléonore has capacity. There's about 2,000 tons in the mill that they can't fill. This would fill very nicely. So it would be essentially mined and trucked nearby to the mill to be processed. And that works well when Goldcorp is your partner. So we're looking at that. Our goal here is to eventually get to a maiden resource estimate. That's key, because you have a discovery, you now got to prove it out. That's our next step. But this could be very exciting for everybody. And just to give you the extent of that discovery, so where you see the yellow arc is 5 kilometers long, and we are working mainly on the contact trend where the black dotted oval is, ovals, the two of them, and then we're working our way around the corner. So this could be pretty massive overall as we advance this project. So very exciting for us, moving that forward with results to come in the next few months. And just to give you an idea of what we're in the past, they were working in meta-sediments. Why were they looking in meta-sediments? Is because the setting for the Éléonore mine is in meta-sediments. What we found, and the reason everything flipped 2 years ago, is that we started hitting in the tonalite, and where we realized is that that is where the gold is actually in the tonalite intrusive in our case. Now, 15 kilometers away at the Éléonore mine, it's reversed. In this case, it's in the tonalite. We're now fully in the tonalite and at the contact drilling, and this gives you an idea of how they overlay each other, and we're now moving into essentially that purple area. That's where we've been drilling for two years or so. So some of our current plan, this is the end of the year plan. Obviously, we're working on a 2019 plan right now. But basically, what have we done? Well, we've accomplished everything we've said in the last 2 years. We've delivered on milestones. We've had catalysts. We came out with in the Eau Claire project, number 1. We came out with an updated mineral resource, followed by the PEA. So the PEA came out where the star is, and then we are continuing the work. On the second one, we've got the discovery. We announced a year ago. We're now continuing to trench and drill to try to get to maiden resources eventually. Eastmain Mine, we did some work there. We issued a resource as we promised and did some exploration work, which looks promising, but simply because of the market, we put it on hold as our third project. We will revive that project as soon as the gold market turns and the gold equities market turns to positive for us, which we expect to happen sometime in, I'm going to call it the near future. I won't define what that is. So thank you very much. Remember, high-grade gold, safe, stable jurisdiction, available infrastructure, and we are very focused on creating value for our shareholders. Our share price right now is around 16.5 cents. Metric, if you remember that one of the first slides I showed, that would be considered a ridiculous price in any market. So currently, that's the case. Therefore, an opportunity for investment by anybody interested to get back into the gold equities market.
This report brought to you by the Richmond Club, where investors and high-growth companies meet.